Hi there, welcome back to my channel. Hope you've all had a good week. I am seriously going to try and record consistent content now, so hopefully I'll be able to do it twice a week, but obviously let's see how it goes because I know everything is unpredictable right now, but I have a bit more stability with my living arrangements, so hopefully that'll mean I can be more consistent. Anyway, what I thought we'd do in this question was I had this idea that we could do a pick a card around you having a Reiki session and basically what you would see, what you might feel in the Reiki session, and essentially what the Reiki master would tell you during, before or after the session. We're going to be super open. So obviously I'm also trained as a Reiki master. That happened years and years ago when a shaman invited me on their training program, and they also brought Reiki into it. I think Reiki is amazing, particularly from the point of view of Reiki self-healing, because honestly I would get so many really important past lives that would come in when I was doing Reiki self-healing. I also met one of my still most significant spirit guides, almost like a blue type of guide that's my most predominant guide ever since. And I also really feel that essentially it just helped open me up and be able to work with and channel my psychic abilities more cohesively. And all of that kind of thing. So I really feel like Reiki can be really powerful and really helpful for all of us in many different ways. That was just my own personal experience of it. Anyway, so the question that I thought we would do very specifically is, this is your Reiki session and this is what the Reiki master would tell you. Okay, so we have 3 piles. Okay, so this is message 1. Okay, this is message number 2. And this is message number 3. So just feel intuitively which one has your answer. Remember, these readings are completely timeless, so you can come back to them again in the future and you might get a different one. Cool, well, let's go straight on to pile number 1. Okay, hi guys, this is for all of you that chose message number 1 for what would happen in your Reiki session and what would the Reiki master tell you. So let me just see and feel. Okay, instantly, first of all, what I'm seeing is as soon as the Reiki session starts, it's like you've got this massive purple aura all the way around you. It's quite a sort of a darker, bright type of purple, and it actually comes really far the whole way around you, and I know the purple chakra isn't necessarily related to this, but I'm definitely seeing like a swirling energy all the way around your third eye. And I'm seeing that third eye chakra like really activated, as well as your 8th chakra, which is further above your head. So it's off your body. For you, it's actually quite far off your body. It's about like a meter off your body, and it's a big massive like silver kind of moon is what it looks like, and I can see both of those 2 chakras are getting massively activated, and at the same time so is your earth star chakra, so your 10th chakra below your feet. Again, for you this is really quite far down. It's like 2 meters off your body below your feet is your earth star chakra, and this is starting to glow kind of silver and also electric violet. And really interestingly, this happens almost as soon as the Reiki master, like you've barely just laid down on the bed and it's just like bam, all of this energy instantly gets activated. So your Reiki master at this point is really picking up that grounding's really important, because a lot of psychic insight and psychic expansion is currently happening to you, not just during this Reiki session, but either just before or also just after the Reiki session. So there's something about your intuition that's really important and really heightened at the moment. And it also feels like you're a pile that's potentially doing a lot of meditation at the moment, or it's something that would be really useful for you to do at the moment. It could even be like mindful walking, or it could be a lot of breath work. There's something about that that's really important and useful for you guys at this kind of time, because like I say, your 6th chakra, your 8th chakra and your 10th chakra are super activated. And the reason why that 10th chakra, the Earth Star chakra, has got activated is because you're seriously needing grounding for the amount of connection that you're starting to have with these more ethereal types of spaces. So again, astrologically, like the Reiki master is sort of seeing sort of really strong Aquarius type of energy coming in. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are an Aquarius, it just means that that sort of energy is currently really impacting you. So it also means that, just one second, I'm just getting there's this real kind of desire for connection as well. And it's kind of like spiritual connection, but how the Reiki master would describe this to you is that your soul's just longing to be with your soul tribe. And that's partly why this purple energy is so wide all the way around you, because it's kind of like sending out signals of like calling in like soulmate, soul tribe, soul family. But it's like you really want to experience it in the physical reality. And that's again why that 10th chakra is getting activated. I do feel like as well, some of you that chosen this pile, you're people that maybe you've had a little bit of headaches at some time, or you've had a bit of jaw pain, or you've had a bit of neck pain, or you've had a bit of upper back, like really tight traps. And some of you might even have had stuff that's gone into your shoulders. It feels like all that kind of like upper part of the body, so kind of from the shoulders upwards, could be really tight, and definitely your cranial. So your cranial is kind of like it's basically, you know, your head, essentially. It feels like there's loads and loads of stimulus and activation going off there. And like I say, if it's overstimulated and it's not having a way to ground itself in a way, it might sometimes cause a little bit of tension or aches or pains in that kind of area. And you also might be a group where some of you are grinding your teeth at night. There might be that kind of thing, because again, it feels like there's almost like this overactivation, and there might be a bit of overthinking as well that's going off for some of you. Depending on what type of energy you have. All of this is getting highlighted as the Reiki master is working on you. And the Reiki master is kind of like slowly releasing tension from your cranium. And as that's happening, it's kind of like it's sending waves of peace and calm all the way down your spine, all the way down your arms, all the way down your legs. And it's slowly kind of creating almost like a wave, like that, you know, like a wave movement in your purple energy field at the moment. And it's seriously relaxing it. And as the more that this keeps happening, the more you start to breathe deeply, and the Reiki master starts to breathe deeply with you. And then the Reiki master's guide is kind of like almost like holding your head, and just seriously, really gently massaging kind of like behind the ears. And again, this is making you feel so relaxed. So some of you in this pile, you're actually really starting to literally let go of this reality and like start slipping into a dream type of trance type of space. And as you do that, you start to slowly feel like tingling. This really nice tingling type of sensation going all the way around your body, particularly your toes and your feet. And again, your breathing starts to slow down even more. And as this happens, you might not be aware of it, but suddenly there's like a whole, almost like, and this is this Aquarius type of energy that the Reiki master would tell you about, because there's kind of like a whole load of energy that when your body completely relaxes like that, and when your cranial starts to completely let go of tension and relax and sink into a relaxed rhythm with your breathing, it actually starts to allow a whole load of information and almost like energetic spiritual downloads to come through your body. But it's not something that you will necessarily be consciously processing, because everything about it is relaxing and it's peaceful. And basically by the time you come off the bed with the Reiki master, you suddenly feel so much more grounded, so much more clear. and you feel like you're getting an answer to something. It's almost like a realization, that's it. Again, it's this Aquarius and Uranus energy of like a sudden realization about something. And it's almost like that sudden realization about something happens because, again, your cranial is relaxed. It's relaxed. It's synced into the rhythm of the rest of your breathing in your body, which is also then synced into the rhythm and almost like the breath of life itself. And therefore you suddenly get an answer to something, or you suddenly get an awareness or an insight, and it's a very grounded awareness and insight. And that's the sort of thing that's kind of currently going off if you were to be having a Reiki session. But now let's go in and find some more information about it all. So here let's have how should we do this? Yeah, here let's have what your Reiki master would be telling you. And then here let's also have some of the things that would have been going off in the Reiki session, or that's going off with your body or your energy field or anything like that. Let's see, how's this going? Got quite an abstract spread, but that's cool. Right, so let's just see. So, oh wow, we have the Magician. So again, this kind of feels like this sudden awareness and grounded perspective that you're going to be getting, because you're actually having almost like an energetic download and a real awareness of something and a real peace and calm about something once your cranial really starts relaxing and that tension. And also once you get really grounded, so these higher chakras, or these chakras that can very much tap into multidimensional spaces like psychic spaces with your 6th chakra and your 8th chakra, they really start to calm down and be able to process what's coming through. And then here we have the 10 of Wands. Yeah, exactly. This is what we're talking about. So what would be going off is a lot in your Reiki session. There is a lot of releasing of tension, a lot of and definitely kind of mental tension, or sort of like overthinking type of tension. Kind of, I don't know, it's just making me need to roll my neck and touch my shoulders, because that's all the energy that's kind of getting released off there. It's almost like you have been carrying this heavy burden. There's been a heavy burden about something, either on a physical, mental, emotional or spiritual level. And for some of you, it could be all of it. And the Reiki Master is literally really working to kind of like release it. And actually, I don't know if you can see in this card here. Let me just get it with the light. It's kind of like 2 hands here. And then there's almost like this sort of all of these wands together in a star, and it kind of feels like there's been a bit of confusion about some kind of direction, because this kind of feels a little bit like your North Star. So where you feel like you've been guided to go, where you feel like is your destiny, something like that. There's, at the time of you going in for this Reiki session, there's been some kind of confusion or heavy energy to do with those kind of areas of your life. And it feels like one hand is the Reiki Masters and one hand is the Reiki Master's guide, and they're slowly, like almost like, it's almost like I'm seeing a vision of like brushing off the cobwebs around that soul star chakra. So for some of you, it might be that that's been laying dormant for a little while, or there's something that you haven't quite clearly seen or clearly understood, or you haven't clearly engaged with kind of some part of your North Star, your destiny in some way. And that's all again sort of getting released and rebooted for you during this session. I don't know, this feels quite complicated, so we will also come back to that energy while it's getting worked on. And let's just see here. So then we have in reverse the 3 of Coins. So this does make me feel like a lot of you have been working really, really hard on something. You've either been working hard at work, so a lot of you, this might be why I saw with a lot of you with like the tension on the upper traps and kind of the shoulders, the neck and the cranium and the jaw. There's been, you've really been working hard at something. And if you haven't been working hard at something, you've absolutely been overthinking a lot about something. And it kind of, during this session, all of that is sort of, there's some grief to do with working hard as well. And it's different things for different ones of you, but it kind of feels like there's been a bit of grief for some of you around working really hard at something. And if this doesn't relate with work, it could also be to do with a relationship or something like that, because all of you are a bit different here. But actually what then I can see happening in your Reiki session is there's a little bit of sort of heavy energy being released out of the lungs, because the lungs can often hold the energy of grief. And it's kind of like it's coming out like a dark, deep purpley brown colour. And the Reiki master and the Reiki master's guide are kind of like slowly they're kind of doing this with their arms and then flicking it. And again, doing it the other way, like rolling it up. They're kind of rolling it out of your lungs energetically and then flicking it off to the side and then going the other direction. So clockwise and anti-clockwise, they're both doing it in this kind of fashion and flicking it off. And as that happens, you just start to really take a huge, deep breath of air into your lungs and breathing all the way out. And again, you release a whole load of tension and your cranial relaxes even more. Oh, wow. And then we have the Ace of Coins. How nice. I love this. It's interesting because there is quite, we've got two ones with hands here. This time I can see that it's the Reiki master is... One second, what are they doing? Just give me one moment. Ah, that's it. The Reiki master is now going up to the top of your head and kind of holding your head. So where my fingernails are is where your neck would be, and where my palms are is where your head is. And the Reiki master, we all have like 11th chakras in the palms of our hands, and suddenly the Reiki master is kind of having loads of energy coming out of their 11th chakras, and it's all going into your cranium, and it starts to feel really, really warm, but really, really relaxing. And then you feel this wave of warmth go the whole way through your body, right the way to your toes, and then your toes start tingling, and then it's almost like the energy recycles all the way back again, and again you get this really warm sense coming all the way through the Reiki master's palms, all the way through your cranium, down your spine, down your legs, into your toes. And also, as the Reiki master has kind of got his hands like this, the Reiki master's guide has got his hands on top of the Reiki master's, so there's like a huge amount of feeling of real support and real safety. And that's also what's really, really making your body open up and release all of this tension. Again, to let essentially a real awareness, a crystal clarity about how to move forward, about how to process something, and particularly to do with something that's quite a destined experience for you. So it could be relationship, it could be job, it could be life purpose, it could be health, it could be anything. So there's a lot of tension about that and a lot of being released, but also at the same time a huge amount of clarity coming through to do with all of that type of energy. And then it's kind of like this grief is released from the lungs, and you get this huge peaceful relaxation coming through. And then it's kind of like the final touch is this kind of incredible energy, this wave of energy that's coming all the way from your cranium, from the Reiki guides, the Reiki master's guides energy, deep from in the universe to into the Reiki master's hands, to all the way through and down your body. It's one of those things that feels just insanely euphoric, almost insanely euphoric. It's that type of energy. So essentially you definitely leave not only feeling like a whole load of clarity, but you feel so good. You feel completely recharged. But now let's see what the Reiki master say. Oh, wow. So we have the Six of Wands. So the Six of Wands is this type of success card. But let me just pull them all over first. Then we have Judgment. Wow, big energy. So a major arcana there. A real release of something. Again, like I say, the release of the confusion around some kind of destined thing. And also the release of grief. Definitely the Reiki master would be telling you all of that. And then, oh wow, Three of Wands. So we've now had three of Coins in reversed and Three of Wands upright. I love the depiction of this one as well. And then what's the last one? Wow, Ace of Cups. No way. So now we also have an Ace of Coins and an Ace of Cups. So essentially the Reiki master would absolutely be telling you a lot of kind of what you had been feeling was getting released. So what we've kind of talked about to do with that. But he would definitely be saying that or they would be saying, just give me one moment. I actually feel like your Reiki master is male, by the way, the one that I'm seeing in this kind of vision of it all. And also the Reiki master's basically guide, spirit guide, is also male, which is really interesting. I don't know why I find that interesting, but I do. I think I've often seen it where it's kind of like, quite often not always, to be fair, my Reiki master guide is also female. I don't know, there's something important about this, about your masculine energy is what's coming up by the fact that both the Reiki master and the Reiki guide are both male. So there's something about a real balancing of the masculine energy within you. That's something that's coming out really, really strong. And to be honest, I do kind of feel and see more of a masculine type of energy. So whether you're male or female, it really doesn't matter. It's just about the fact that it's kind of like balancing the mind, balancing your physical reality, balancing how you felt about some responsibilities or sense of authority, or about some really strong desire that you have, either relationship or money or career or whatever it might be. That is all the energy that's kind of getting balanced and harmonized for you. And there really is a real big shift the Reiki master would be telling you. The Reiki master would be saying that he really feels like a big shift is going to be coming into your life as soon as you just consolidate further what's happened within this session. So as soon as you are gaining more clarity about something that you've had some uncertainty about, and then you release the burden of wherever you have either resisted taking a certain amount of action to do with something that's really destined for you. I feel like there's something like that. You've been resisting it, and once you release that, then there'll be a whole load of clarity. And the Reiki master would say that a very new opportunity would then be coming in for you to do with whatever is this kind of destiny type of energy. That's completely what the guide would be saying to you. So I can also feel like that's something that's really important for you to hear at the time of you choosing this reading, because it does feel like there's a very big shift coming for you guys. Like, I'm hearing the word as a metamorphosis. I'm totally hearing the word as a metamorphosis is on its way for you. And it's a metamorphosis to do with how you use your own masculine energy. So also, if this is to do with a relationship, or you're thinking a relationship came up in your mind, it's definitely about deciding what energy you're going to be bringing into that relationship. Is it more masculine at the moment, like you're being more decisive, you're taking more action, like you're speaking first, you're saying what you want? Or is it actually for you to have a little less masculine energy and be more open and receptive and talking about your feelings and listening to the other person's feelings and kind of supporting them, and kind of waiting for them to take the lead? There's something about that as well that's coming through if this is more of a type of a relationship thing. But whatever the Reiki master will be saying to you, a new emotion is required for you to receive something that you really want to do with whatever this is, to do with whatever this is that you've been overthinking about, to do whatever this is that's to do with your destiny or desire. There's like a new emotion so close to coming in. And it would say that there's an opportunity coming up. There's totally an opportunity coming up, the Reiki master would be saying to you, once obviously your cranial gets balanced, once the tension kind of goes out of your body and out of your mind, once you get more clarity with your direction, once you get more clarity about actually taking a different type of action to do with something, the grief feels like it could be a fear of a rejection of something, either to do with your life purpose, to do with your career, to do with a relationship. There's kind of like a really deep, unconscious for many of you, but some of you it will be conscious, kind of fear of a rejection of some type. And the Reiki master will be telling you that is, you're close to releasing that fear of rejection in whatever way it is. And once you release that fear of rejection, a new emotion will come in. And this new emotion will really, really inspire you and kind of give you some crystal clear clarity. And then you're going to take some very, very decisive action to do with whatever this is. And so this might even be no action. It might be, the action might be to do nothing and to wait to receive something, to wait for something to be called into you. And it might be where you're doing a bit more of the action in more of a meditative kind of psychic space where you're kind of like summoning whatever it is that you want. But also for some of you, it'll be the total opposite. So you just need to feel into it. It'll be you taking some very different but decisive action to really show life and the universe what it is that you do want and that you are committed to do this. So see where you feel intuitively like you're placed with this kind of like either masculine energy of kind of taking some assertive kind of direction, or feminine energy to do with kind of more softening yourself, softening your energy field, relaxing, enjoying yourself, kind of beautifying yourself and your energy in some way to call in something that you want to receive. Anyway, now let's just pull just a couple of oracle. Okay. Whoop, that one wants to come out. Okay. So let's see. So we have, oh wow, faith. So the first oracle message that comes out is faith. So what I think this is a feeling that you get within yourself after the session. You get this kind of feeling of again, like this certainty, this clarity, this belief in yourself and the belief in that life is going to be supporting you. And I do feel like with so much tension that was energetically going off with your cranial and the top of your traps, it's like you were carrying such a burden by almost not trusting that you could do something or trusting that life would bring something to you. And that's something that starts to wave through you. You get this kind of like clarity and this belief in yourself and this faith in yourself and in life. Then we have here, oh wow, Soul's Journey. I love these cards, they're so nice. I'm just going to turn the rest over. Then we have She of the Crouch, I think. This is basically feminine energy. This is complete feminine energy. So that's really interesting. This is the first bit now we're getting to do with feminine energy because I felt like such a lot of masculine energy. Oh wow, and then we get fear. That is definitely this kind of, so interesting, we get fear and faith. So as well, like what's really going off in this Reiki session and what the Reiki master would tell you is that you need to trust yourself. You need to trust yourself to feel something different. Allow yourself to feel something different to do with whatever this situation is. And also allow yourself to take very different action to do with whatever this is. And that's going to be so different for all of you. So I'm not going to go through all the different variables because it depends whether you're actually going to go more into taking this masculine energy or more into taking this feminine energy. But yeah, fear and faith, it's, and the soul's journey in between, this really, really feels like the Reiki master would say that you're at a really big decision right now, or you're at a really big place at the moment, and depending on what you decide to do, depending on what action you decide to take, depending on whether you decide to invest more of your feminine energy, receptive, open, receiving, passive energy, or use more of your masculine energy, so active, clarity, assertive, dynamic energy, depending on which one you decide to use will depend on the result, essentially. And that I'm hearing that whatever is the thing that you fear to do the most, so whatever is the thing that you fear to do the most is actually the best thing for you to do, and for you to have faith that it will all work out. Because it does kind of feel like it's whatever you would not usually do, whatever is not the usual way for you to either respond or feel or think or take action, is actually the best thing for you to do. So it's to kind of, again, I'm getting with this one, I'm getting go into the unknown, do something different, go into the unknown, take a different action, have a different emotion to do with something. And I'm hearing that the Reiki master would be telling you, like, it is quite a it will feel, it could feel overwhelming, because it's kind of like being at the guardian of the threshold. It's like this moment of like, what are you going to do? Are you going to do something the same way that you usually do it? Or are you going to have this kind of like this courage and this faith to kind of do something very different? Because for some reason I'm intuitively getting shown that this is very much a card about courage. It's not bravery though, which is more of a masculine energy, but it's kind of like courage, more of a feminine energy, like a real heart, taking action from this heart-centered space. That seems to be something really important, and trusting yourself with this. So essentially that is what I'm getting, is kind of what would be happening if you had a Reiki session with a Reiki master right now. And this is kind of what the Reiki master would be telling you and advising you after. They would definitely be saying as well that having a salt bath after your Reiki session would be super useful, because it would help to ground your energy in a much more softer, subtle way, at the same time as clear off any sort of the kind of discharged energy that's come off from that cranial and the neck and the jaw and the shoulders and the upper traps, that type of thing, and just releasing all that tension. For some of you, it's kind of also like the upper part of the back, like in between the shoulder blades. So the salt bath would help energetically to be releasing the tension that's coming out of those areas. And yeah, the Reiki master would really be telling you to have faith and to trust yourself, and to just do something in a very different way to how you usually would. Have the courage to do something very different, and allow yourself to feel different emotions, or a different emotion to do with this. Because when you feel a different emotion to do with whatever this is, then you will easily be able to take a different action to do with whatever this is, with the Ace of Coins. Cool, well, I hope you enjoyed that reading. I really enjoyed doing it. I thought it would be a little bit of fun to see how it's all working. So totally check out those chakras as well, your 8th chakra, your 6th chakra, and your 10th chakra. Maybe you'd want to have a look on YouTube for some guided meditations. That could maybe help with some of this. Also, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook on Abigail Grace Psychic. I post lots of different things there. I'm on other social medias as well, and it's always Abigail Grace Psychic. You can also have a look at my other YouTube channel, See It Like a Psychic. I post quite a lot of different information on there. Some things about, you know, like chakras or all that sort of stuff. And then also, if you'd like a private reading with me, I don't actually do Reiki sessions anymore. But actually, if I do a reading and it kind of comes up, then I'll obviously guide you sort of through it and tell you about the chakras and recommend what you can do, and sometimes give you a very small guided meditation in the reading if that is relevant to you. So I do Akashic Record readings, I do all sorts of different tarot readings, love, money, but also one that you can just tell me exactly what you want, a custom one. And I also do astrology readings where we look at your birth chart, your solar return, your progress chart, and all of that awesome stuff. So see if you'd like anything like that. And also check out my Akashic Record picker cards, because I've also got extended readings on my website to do with that too. And so that you might also find that useful for a little bit more insight. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this. I loved reading for you, and hopefully I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye. Hi guys, so welcome to everybody that chose message number 2 for your Reiki session and what the Reiki master would tell you. So let me see what's going on here. Okay, so one of the first things that would start to go off energetically when you were having your session was there was a whole load of kind of like a cleansing of, I'm kind of like seeing like the kind of energy with the kidneys, the energy with kind of like like your just everything to do with you kind of like releasing but also absorbing water. That kind of energy is kind of like going off. But definitely I'm seeing like a lot of kind of purifying energy with kind of like the kidney region. And it kind of feels as well like what actually I can see coming through on your Reiki session is essentially there's like quite a few mythical creatures from the sea that come in it feels like heavily kind of like water based, and kind of, but interestingly not necessarily to do with an emotional type of thing. It more just feels like on an energetic level, the Reiki session is helping you to kind of process your emotions in a different type of way to how you usually would. And also it's got some real kind of thing of like a real kind of, I'm getting the words coming through of like, your emotions are your asset. Your emotions are your asset. In the situation that you're in, your emotions are your asset. Listen to your emotions, what your emotions telling you. I'm hearing things as well like hydrate. I'm seeing, like, to be honest, it's just crazy. It's just like as soon as you lie down, just all of this sort of energy and words and kind of mythical creatures of the sea are all coming in, and each mythical creature is kind of energetically kind of like blowing in a certain type of energy into your energy field. So all of these words that I'm saying is kind of like the representation of the energy that are blowing into your energy field. So I'm hearing things like rehydrate, make sure you're well hydrated, have your salt baths to cleanse you, have your showers to discharge like energy around you and frequencies and EMFs and things like that. And I'm hearing things like trust your emotions, listen to how you're feeling, listen to how others are feeling, express your feelings, process your feelings, process other people's feelings. It kind of feels like, whoa, like just this sort of, and the Reiki master's kind of doing this kind of energy, like going around your body, just kind of like fanning the energy. That's it. It's almost like fanning the energy. And it actually feels, although it's kind of like a watery type of energy that's coming in, it still feels like a warm kind of breeze that's kind of coming in, because there's a lot of engagement coming into your Reiki session, like huge amounts, and the Reiki master is just kind of like allowing it all to happen. And like I say, is just seeing that there's this real kind of Neptunian energy as well, a Neptunian kind of Pisces, kind of Cancer, kind of Scorpionic type of energy that's all around this kind of situation. But interesting as well, this is so interesting. Message number one, what I saw with them, there wasn't all of this sort of like engagement with different energies coming in through the Reiki session. But I'm also really seeing as well that in your Reiki session, it's like, just give me 1 second. Oh man, it's just gone because it's just on the periphery. Just give me 1 second, it's coming back. This is the thing as well, during this Reiki session that I'm seeing, it's like you're dropping down different levels of your own consciousness, and you're also then raising up different levels of your consciousness. So it's kind of almost like a really kind of surrealish type of feeling that you're having as you're there having your Reiki session. Kind of like so much is going on that it's almost like you can't actually process it, but the processing's happening at a much higher level. So when you get out of the Reiki session, you just feel recharged, but you actually feel very relaxed. And the words that I'm hearing is peaceful, even though it feels like there's so much kind of like going on within your Reiki session. But again, everything feels very rhythmical. So the movements that the Reiki master is doing and the movements that the Reiki master's guide are doing, spirit guide are doing, are all very kind of rhythmical, and both hands mirror each other. So whatever one hand does, the other hand does, and it creates like a movement, a kind of, it's almost like got a type of dance type of rhythmic vibe to it. And again, it feels like this is kind of really setting, number one, it feels like it's flushing out a whole load of stagnant, energetic type of emotions to do with something. But at the same time as well, it feels like it's very, almost like liberating and kind of exciting as well, because it's like as the Reiki master and the Reiki guide help release this kind of blocked energy that's around you to do with an emotional type of context, at the same time very quickly the energy that comes in is replaced by kind of like it's almost like the energy of somebody at a water park having fun, or somebody surfing, or somebody kite surfing, or somebody just, if they're not into being in the water, somebody just enjoying sunbathing on the beach. It's got this really, really nice feel, and they're sunbathing on the beach, and maybe they've just had an amazing cocktail that they love, or amazing juice that they have, and just listening to a bit of music that they like, and just everything feels, it's got a holiday type of vibe to it. So I think you end up coming out of this Reiki session feeling a lot lighter, but also like a little bit of a holiday vibe, like you've been away and you've truly had a break and you've come back, and then you start to be able to bring a whole new life of energy into whatever is going off into your life. So again, it feels kind of very, very replenishing. And it feels, it's interesting, even though the Neptune energy is coming in, it doesn't so much feel like this is a psychic Neptune energy. It feels more like this is a cleansing and rejuvenating type of Neptune energy. Just 1 minute, because there's something else coming through and I just can't quite see it. Just give me 1 second, because it's really deep. This Reiki session is really bringing some really kind of deep cleansing coming through you. So just bear with me a moment. And also I just want to say it's happening all very, very effortlessly. It's like when he came to this Reiki master, it was literally just time for it to happen. And because it was literally just time to happen, there was no resistance from you or any of the energy, and just releasing and refreshing and rejuvenating yourself and your energy field. So it's kind of really got that kind of vibe as well. And then it's almost as well like some, oh, that's it, there it is again, oh, they've come back again. Okay, so I saw this before and then it disappeared and I lost words for it, and now it's just come back again. So along with obviously the mythical creatures being there, there's actually a red Indian that's also come in, and the red Indian has got his hands, the red Indian spirit guide. It's got his hands, because they do have, what we all do, we all have 11th chakras in the palms of our hands that can give and receive energy. And this red Indian has activated really strongly. It's like there's, I think it's called a Merkaba. So you know when you've got those kind of like triangles interlaced in each other, got Merkabas coming out of both of the palms of his hands, and he's putting, oh, it's so freaking cool, I love this. Wait, and he's then putting his palms of his hands on the soles of your feet. Now on the soles of your feet, we all have 11 chakras in the palms of our hands and the soles of our feet. And suddenly he's kind of like, this Merkaba type of energy that's coming out of both of his palms is then going into the soles of your feet. First of all, he's holding the soles of your feet, and it feels amazing. It feels like suddenly like a cool breeze. And the cool breeze is essentially, he is helping, again, just clear out any stuck or stagnant emotional energy from the emotional energetic systems within your body. And again, this feels like, now I can see as well that your sacral chakra is also starting to kind of move and release some heavy energy on the area, and it's all coming down your legs into the soles of your feet. And then this red Indian is allowing that energy to, almost like water, it's trickling over the palms of his hands, and it's almost like making like waterfalls through his hands, which are contacting your feet. So your soles of your feet are kind of here, and he's got his hands there, and then all of this water is like draining out through his hands, coming out from your feet into the earth. And then I'm seeing like these sort of like Merkabas that are kind of in the palms of his hands, and that are now engaging with the soles of your feet and your 11th chakras there. They're kind of like glowing really, really strong purple. And as they glow a strong purple, it's kind of like there's a spiral of purple energy that kind of intertwines around your legs, all the way up through your body, up through your head, and all the way up through the universe. I've never ever seen this before. Anyway, and it just keeps essentially, then it goes all the way up through the universe, and then there's kind of like a white energy that then also spirals in the other direction, like while following that purple spiral all the way down your body, all the way down both of the legs, and then obviously into these Merkaba kind of, I don't know, this Merkaba shape that's coming out of this red Indian. And then, oh, I love this, then you start to hear, or even if you don't, the Reiki master does, starts to hear like red Indians kind of like chanting and sort of like dancing around the bed. Oh, and this feels amazing. It's literally giving me tingles. It's giving me tingles down my jaw and all the way into my pelvis. So it's telling me again that now there's like a release of tension that you've been holding on in your jaw and in your pelvis, and it's all starting to loosen up. And again, it's this feeling of total peace, but also being energized at the same time. Wow, I totally and utterly love that. Anyway, cool, let me pull some cards, otherwise obviously we get stuck in the channeling. Right, so, okay, I'm being shown that we almost have like rainbow coming this way. So this first layer is what's going off more in your session, and then this second layer is what also the Reiki master will be telling you. Wow, that's way too many. Let's see. Okay, she's being shown this like this. Okay. And I'm hearing that actually for you, we don't read reversals. So let's have a look. So, oh wow, the Magician. That is so funny. You know, in message 1, Magician came out first, but actually in these cards. Okay, so we have the Magician. We have the 2 of Pentacles. Oh wow. Then we have the Mother of Pentacles. So really, really nurturing energy coming in. Again, very feminine, very emotional. Oh wow, and then we have the Emperor. So now we have really strong, stable, supportive, protective, masculine energy coming in. No wonder you're able to release and sort of like cleanse so much and purify so much in the session, because essentially you feel so incredibly safe and protected and supported that it actually allows you to release and open up on an energetic level during this session so much more. And again, I'm just hearing because it was literally time, and there was no resistance on your part. So I feel as well like no matter where you're currently at in your life, recognize that in a certain area of life you actually really have no resistance now. And that might sound unusual because I feel like things could have been a little bit tricky at some parts in the past, but actually recognize that you're stepping into a seriously mature and stable type of energy and reality despite what might be appearing. But the key, I'm hearing the key to your success and the key to things going in the way that you want is to keep doing things that make you feel either protected or supported, either nurtured or safe in some way. And kind of very, very balanced, it feels like, between a masculine and feminine energy. So again, see how that resonates. But now let me just see what we got here. So we have Ruler of Coins. This is what the Reiki Master would tell you. Sovereign of Coins. So again, we have a King and we also have a Queen energy here. Again, kind of mirroring this kind of like masculine and feminine energy. We have here Ace of Cups, so interesting. Ace of Cups was also in this, but in the other deck. So you might also find this something quite useful in message number 1. And then we have the 7 of Wands. Okay, so just give me a minute. Let me just feel into all of these and see what's going on. Again, it's interesting. You know how I said I could really see the sacral chakra? For some reason, I'm really seeing the sacral chakra here as well with this card here. And I do really feel like... What's going on? Let me just visualise, get into that space and visualise it all again. Okay, so what's also been happening on an energetic level during this Reiki session is that actually there's some kind of new kind of direction, new kind of experience that you are really wanting to experience in your life. But it means that, again, I suppose this is why it has a slight similar echo to message number 1. It means that almost that you need to feel, but it is slightly different, you need to feel comfortable and safe to do things in a slightly different way to how you've done them before. It's kind of like... The reason why there's been a lot of emotional release and energetic release from the kidneys is because it feels like... I don't get the feeling, although the kidneys can be related to fear, I really don't get the feeling that this is anything to do with fear. I just feel like there's been a lot of growth and I'm hearing a lot of lessons are being learned to do with how you either engage with your emotions or how you don't engage with your emotions, and how aware you are about how you really do feel. And actually, for some of you, it's not even necessarily about how anything to do with you and how you feel, but it's to do with how you process how others are with you and your emotional energy. It's something like that. So depending on which kind of pile you're sitting in, or which kind of person that you are, depends on how this energy is working. But I feel like there's been a lot of kind of, it definitely feels like that's going off energetically, is there's really having like a rebirth energy that's coming through. And again, it kind of feels that sort of energy of kind of going on holiday, because there's been a lot that's gone on. So then you've gone on holiday, and then you've been on holiday and you've totally relaxed and you've enjoyed yourself, and then when you've come back off holiday you feel totally rejuvenated and relaxed. And it really does feel like that's kind of like what's happening in this, in your Reiki session. You're kind of going in to almost just let go of like whatever has been happening, to then reset yourself to feel like you again, to feel good, to feel energized, to feel replenished, and then you'll go back out into the world again feeling good and taking action. Because I feel like as well with these powers, with the Magician and the Emperor, if I say this is the energy that you came into within the session and this is the energy that you go out with, they're kind of in some ways quite similar energy. I always think of the Magician as being quite a masculine energy, and obviously the Emperor energy is quite a masculine energy. And it kind of feels like, again, I've only just noticed this, we've got two infinity symbols here. It kind of feels like you've done so much work. You've done so much work either on yourself or in an area of life, or to do with relationships or life purpose, or whatever it is to do with you or work or money. You've worked so hard, and I feel like things are just going to start coming through for you now, like reaping the rewards of what's happened. And there's something about this Reiki session which really helps you just get into the space of like truly being able to receive. And I'm hearing that was what the Red Indian was doing, the spirit guide, is he was just helping you essentially discharge energy that was stopping you attract what it was that you wanted, or be in a space so that you could receive it. And then he was also putting in energy to help you feel like worthy, like good enough for it, like it is the right time, like good things can happen to you, like good things will happen to you. It's kind of all of that kind of energy. And again, it's why you essentially leave this Reiki session feeling super energized and replenished, quite literally like you've been on a holiday. Because it does feel like there's been some stagnant energy. Or there's been like a lot of changes. I feel like you might have had like a lot of different realizations about things recently. And if you haven't recently, then I feel like that's something that's going to be coming into you. Because I'm seeing that and that, this kind of infinity actually, is just kind of like trying to decide or changing your mind a little bit about stuff. Do I go this way or do I go that way? Do I contact that person? Do I not? Do I go to this place? Do I not? Do I take that job? Do I not? Like there's been that kind of sort of, you know, shall I wait for this person or shall I not? Shall I go online dating or shall I not? Shall I put my creative project out into the world or shall I not? I don't know, there's something about that kind of energy that's gone to and fro. And that again has created some kind of like, that's why it's not fear in the kidneys that I could feel, but it's kind of uncertainty. And if you're in uncertainty for a long period of time, that can ultimately mean that you go into more of a fear space to do something, just on an energetic level is what I'm hearing. So because there's been uncertainty and a bit of inconsistency about how you're going to go about doing something, or what it is you're going to do, or whatever that might be, it's actually started to stagnate that emotional energy, that sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra moves things around you. It attracts things into your life. It kind of summons things in. It's a very magnetic kind of chakra. It's where you can really manifest from, particularly from a feminine type of energy. So where you first get the ideas about what you want to do, or the feelings, how it is you want to feel, that sort of thing all comes through this kind of chakra. But also how you're going to take action, which is kind of, it's not structured and solid, it's more kind of flowing with life. And I do feel like you have been doing that. a lot of you. And for those of you that haven't been able to flow, I do also think that might have been causing a little bit of more uncertainty and more kind of like stuck energy. But even those of you that have been flowing with life and going with the flow with stuff, because there just hasn't been this kind of certainty with something, again, it's meant there's been a little bit of hesitation. And that little bit of hesitation has been holding within that kind of kidneys area for some reason. So for some of you, you might find actually that you haven't necessarily been drinking or hydrating as much as you usually would. And also paradoxically for others of you, you might find that you were drinking more than you usually would. There's something about that that's important. And also I'm hearing that this also plays into sleep too. Some of you may have been sleeping more than you would, or some of you might have been sleeping less than you would. There's this kind of slight imbalance to do with that type of energy, that kind of dream space, that kind of emotional space, that kind of watery energy. So the Reiki session is really helping to balance and harmonize all of that, as well as completely and utterly reboot you, and just really helping you just release things, even if it's thoughts or it's old patterns or it's old feelings or it's old memories. I feel like there's a thing about memories. Some memories have kept coming up and back to you, and you're on repeat and recycle over some memories which are actually no longer relevant to you and could be, again, keeping you slightly in a place of hesitation or in a slight space of being stuck. Oh man, that was really sorry, that's right in my throat chakra. So again, it feels like being stuck about something to do with you expressing something, or something to do with you really being authentic to who you are. There's something about that. But it feels like all of that is getting processed and sorted within this Reiki session. So, and then it's really going to make you feel, by the end of it, you're going to be very, very going to feel, number one, very, very grounded, but I just think as well you're going to feel very peaceful and calm within yourself. Peaceful and calm, relaxed, and I feel like starting to get a bit more of a playful vibe to whatever this reading has been to do with. So, you know, whether whatever you've had uncertainty to do with, or let's say a bit of an internal conflict about should I, shouldn't I, shouldn't I. I feel like you're going to get some massive resolution to do with that, and you're going to start to feel like you're ready to kind of play with uncertainty a bit, like do something a little bit different. But it's not going to feel like challenging, it's just going to feel way more like you want to. Oh no, but I actually really want to. Oh, I'm kind of intrigued, or I'm excited, or I'm curious to know what will happen if I start doing things in this slightly different way. So it's kind of got a bit of also a Gemini type of feel that I'm feeling coming in. And obviously this doesn't mean anything to do with you being Gemini on any level. It just means there's that type of energy that's kind of getting activated within you to kind of be a bit more communicative, or a bit more playful, or kind of a bit more engaged. You're going to start engaging with life in a slightly different way. But I do just want to say as well that this is something that the Reiki Master would say to you as well, is that, you know, that red Indian spirit guide that's there, that's the guide that's actually going to be with you after this Reiki session for as long as he needs to support you with the completion of this kind of session, this kind of process, which is essentially letting go of uncertainty, working with uncertainty in a totally different way, trusting your emotions, playing with your emotions, getting so much lighter, getting so much more creative, but feeling safe and protected to do something in a way that you wouldn't usually, and feeling curious and excited to do that. So that's kind of really, really cool. And again, it feels like, I'm getting this thing about, I'm going to say it wrong again, I think the name is Sedena, Sedena. It's like an asteroid, but a mythical story. And obviously if you feel called to, just go and listen to that story, because it's often about this thing about the main thing that is coming out relevant to all of this, that the Reiki Master would tell you, is that essentially things might have been challenging in the past. You might have not had the result that you ever wanted to do with what this is, but actually you've grown now, you're in a totally different situation now, and now you have the wisdom to actually create what it is that you really do want. Because before you didn't have all of the experience, because you needed to experience like the ups and the downs. You need to be able to experience both things to now be able to come super stable and balanced within your own energy to whatever this is that you're wanting to create or experience. And it just wants to say that now there's like almost like a there's almost like a guardian angel type of protection energy that's coming through. And that red Indian as well is not only going to help protect the pathway that you're now on, but it's also going to go ahead of you and track in front of you. So unconsciously, if you start to get ideas about things in the future to do with whatever this might be, and it's different for all of you, listen to those, because more than likely it's that red Indian spirit guide that's either gone into the future or gone further ahead than where you're currently at to see what's going on, and then to give you insight, like coming back to you now in the form of sudden random ideas or dreams or something like that, or even somebody else might communicate something to you. And basically listen to this because it's really, really important. So that's really cool. I do really love that. So let me just see, what else would the Reiki Master tell you? I think there's definitely something he would definitely say about, even though this session has worked on this a lot, it is important to reduce your own resistance, and to not either be defiant about something, or to not be stubborn about something, or to not be defensive about something. And obviously it depends which one of those words most speaks to you. Only you will know that as relevant to your situation, because all of those kind of energies are coming through. Yeah, because again, this will allow you, if you're not defiant, if you're not defensive, if you're not stubborn, whichever one of those words is relevant, again, this will mean your energy field releases even more resistance, and you'll be able to see something in a new light. And seeing something in a new light really helps you become just really way more balanced in your own energy fields, like way more balanced between all the different parts of who you are, like the masculine and the feminine parts of you. So obviously like using your mind, but also using your emotions and combining them both together. It definitely feels like there's going to be some kind of, you're going to find it much more easier, the Reiki Master would say, to have a clear communication between how you're thinking and how you're feeling, and how you're kind of processing all of that. And I don't know why it's coming through with the Ace of Cups, but definitely the Reiki Master would tell you that that red Indian is absolutely going to be there to be helping and guiding you. So you do have additional support. And the Reiki Master would also say it's really, really useful for you to, I don't know, be kind of, I'm going to say a number of things because feel into which one resonates with you. Like, be grounding your feet, is doing something with your feet. It's either changing your footwear slightly, which could even be what your socks are made out of, or wearing a different pair of shoes, or having your nails done, or having a foot pedicure, or, like I say, walking on grass or sand or something like that. Or even just kind of like, I know it sounds crazy, but just like wiggling your toes. How often do you actually move your toes and move your feet? Because there's this thing that I've always felt like whenever I'm in a sauna, I've just always known intuitively, or in a salt bath, that I need to use with my hands, wiggle and move each of my individual toes. And then it's kind of like energy gets moved out, heavy energy or energy that's stuck gets kind of like moved out of my feet by doing that. It's kind of that kind of thing. So you might even be in the shower and you can either use your hands to help wiggle your toes or just wiggle them yourself. There's something about that is important, because it's helping to further release any stagnation that's kind of going off. And also for some of you that are not into that, it could be like doing a meditation on YouTube about grounding in some kind of way. But it is more than grounding. It's kind of like releasing, discharging heavy energy, incoherent energy. That's kind of something that's important. It could also just be things like putting coconut oil on your feet, just as like a moisturizer. I don't know, there's something about the feet that's important. And maybe it might even be about not wearing slippers, not wearing anything with a rubber sole on when you're walking around your house or your flat or whatever. I don't know, because it just needs to be, you just really need to make sure that you've got this kind of free channel between your feet, the chakras in the soles of your feet, and also kind of like the earth, so that this process can kind of continue to kind of cleanse you and purify you and get you all coherent. Yeah, it does feel really, really nice though. I do feel as well, like for some of you that maybe aren't into your whole salt baths and things, the Reiki Master would be saying, just be like aware whenever you're having a shower, you are actually discharging energy and you're cleansing yourself. And even just to be aware that that's happening will amplify the fact that it's happening. So it's just that kind of conscious awareness, that kind of conscious intent that's kind of coming through as well. I think as well that the Reiki Master would be saying to you something about what's your nutrition around the time of the full moon, just from the point of view of something about you're way more energetically absorbent during the full moon, and particularly with what's going on, because so much is getting activated by like the kidneys and this kind of emotional energy. And obviously I'm talking about the kidneys on an energetic level. But the Reiki Master would just be like, just be mindful during the full moon, like what are you eating? And if you're somebody that wants to detox, or you're somebody that's into your nutrition, just making sure that you have an extra 3 extra days of healthy eating and drinking lots of fresh water, and that kind of around the full moon will also really, really help with this regeneration process. So whenever you listen to that, just check out which is the full moon and when it's next available. And as well, if you're wanting to do some kind of like new routine to do with nutrition or whatever it might be, again, something about starting a few days, like 3 days before the full moon, will also help with this process. So there's that kind of energy as well that's coming through. And really randomly as well, the Reiki Master would say something about, have a research online about gut health and probiotics, because there's something about that as well that's relevant. Now let me just get some oracle cards. And also as well, the Reiki Master would say to you, just pay attention when you eat certain things, particularly if you're eating because you feel emotional about something, and just really pay attention to that, because there's just something useful about just being mindful of some things that you eat when you feel emotional in a positive way compared to some things that you eat when you feel emotional in a sad way, and just be mindful of that. And again, that's coming through with something to do with the sacral chakra as well. So making sure there's kind of like this really healthy kind of regime, particularly around the full moon, whenever that is. That's something that the Reiki Master would say to you. So let's have a look. I've suddenly got really hungry as well, like the moment that we've just mentioned that. So as well, I'm hearing this thing about look into all sorts of things about the Reiki Master would say, if it makes sense to you, look at some Chinese medicine stuff and recognise at different times of the day, different organs are active, and that maybe that's something where you could think about what things are you eating compared to which organs of the body are being activated at certain times. Obviously, this won't be relevant for all of you, but it will be relevant for some of you, and just go with that if it makes sense. So notice when you naturally feel a little bit more as well tired, or when you feel a little bit more energized, to do with what you've eaten and what time of the day you've eaten, and see if that has any relevance to anything as well. It's like finding your own patterns to do with those kind of things that I'm hearing is important, and the Reiki Master would just mention to you as possible things that you could consider if you wanted to. And then just one last one. So let's have a look. So, oh wow, so we have transmutation. I love this card. And again, that was something I was saying about rebirth. Then we have intuition. I totally love the colours on that card. Then we have lies of the shadow. Oh wow, and then we have 37, we have focus. Okay, so just give me a moment just while I feel into all of these and what it is saying. So absolutely, I do feel like there is this kind of like, there's a real shedding and releasing real, and you know, in the beginning I said about how even though there was a lot of water energy, it felt like there was like a warm breeze coming in, and it kind of feels like this. It reminds me of that type of thing. And again, like, you know, that holiday vibe that we were kind of talking about, again, I don't know why I'm getting like this holiday vibe from this as well, with this sun, and kind of just like, you know, that feeling of being re-energized and feeling more creative. And I definitely feel like that's something that is either going to be coming into your life, or it's something to bring into your life. And it's finding the playfulness with it as well. And as well, I really get this thing as well, that the Reiki master would be like, look, you have worked really, really hard on yourself. You've worked really, really hard, and the Reiki master can really tell, because it's saying like some of the higher chakras are actually really well balanced. So basically, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown chakra, all of those chakras have been really, really balanced. And it's because you've actually done a lot of healing, or you've done a lot of self-growth, whichever words you prefer. And it's kind of recognizing that you've done that. And that the Reiki master would say that he recognizes your energy field as one that's actually highly intuitive. And he sees that you... Oh, again, this is a male Reiki master. That was like the other one. But anyway, he sees that... you know, because you've done a lot of work on yourself, because you've released a lot of your own blockages and things like that, it's actually massively increased your intuitive capacities, because he says that he's seen your energy field as way more coherent and clear, and because it's way more coherent and clear, it's easy for messages to come in from the universe and from your spirit guides. And he's actually saying that that's why as well the Red Indian was coming into you as like a new spirit guide from actually this type of experience with the Reiki session, because you have almost like I don't want to say like gone up a level, but you've kind of you've expanded your awareness of yourself and your awareness of life. And during that expansion, you have essentially now going into new terrain with things. And again, that's this whole thing about the uncertainty of something. It's because you're going into a new space to do with it, and it's because actually you are very much going to be doing something in a very different way, and that's already the process of what's happening. And that's why that spirit guide, the Red Native Indian, is here to help you with that. Because again, I'm hearing it's like this it's turning, again with the whole rebirth type of energy that we kind of felt as well here, it's kind of, it's, I don't know, it's like it's it's all about changing how you see yourself and changing it's this thing about having this flexibility, and again that's coming through with this kind of Gemini energy. So tapping into the Gemini archetype would be really useful, to have this kind of like playful, curious flexibility, and understanding that you can kind of move from one thing to another thing to another thing, and there isn't a need to have certainty. You don't need to definitely know what will happen if you take a certain action, or if you do a certain thing, or if you say a certain thing to somebody. It's just very kind of, it's not faith and it's not trust, but it is flow. It's totally allowing flow, and it's recognizing that the Reiki master would say to you, because you have been so clear and focused on what it is that you want, now all you have to do is to allow it to happen. And how you allow it to happen is just by slowly releasing things, while at the same time as you're releasing things, it makes you a lot lighter, and it will open your eyes up to opportunities that you can take that you wouldn't usually, which will mean that you get into a real flow with life. And I'm hearing that really, really strongly. But also one other thing that I'm just seeing as well with this one is, and it's just on a psychic level, is there's something about you just getting back to your own natural frequency. So doing things that really, really make you feel good. Even if you have to try and do new things that you wouldn't usually do, but you can still do them in a way that feels like you. It's that kind of energy that's coming through. And it's recognizing the flexibility that you can do things that you wouldn't usually do, but you can still stay completely true to yourself and authentic to you, and you can still feel absolutely amazing. And this in itself will be a super enlightening and kind of purifying experience for you, to kind of engage with things that you wouldn't usually in a new way and actually get an amazing result, which makes you feel even more like yourself. It's almost like you're really going to be changing your perception of who you are and what you are and how life is. And that's as well why I'm hearing that there's so much cleansing going off with the kidneys, which can hold fear. Because in order for you to step into this space, fear just can't be present. That's just not something that is in alignment with this sort of energy, with this sort of flow that you're going into. Because the moment you get a little bit of fear, I'm hearing it kind of restricts the flow. It restricts like the synchronicities or the amazing things that are coming to you or anything like that. So staying in the flow is just super important. And your Reiki guide would say that is something that's going to be happening for you. So cool. I think I will leave that there. Thanks for letting me read for you. I love doing all these kind of things. It's just so, I never know what I'm going to hear, basically. And when there's more of you watching them, it just opens so much more energetically for me to go into. So thanks so much for that. I'm loving it. If ever there's like a particular title you would like me to do, then definitely just let me know. You can message me on any of my social medias. Like I'm on there on Instagram, on Facebook, on Abigail Grace Psychic. I'm also on other other social medias, always as Abigail Grace Psychic. I also have another YouTube channel, See It Like a Psychic. You might want to check out some of the videos on there, because they explain many different psychic concepts, and I've also got some astrology on there. And then also I do personal readings. I don't actually do Reiki sessions anymore, but when I do any of my readings, sometimes that kind of energy will come in and I'll just tell you exactly what's going on, which chakras to work on, and I might even just give you like a mini like sort of guided meditation of just do this right now, close your eyes, and tell you everything that's going on, and then you use it in that guided meditation way. And I'll also still sometimes do that with some shamanic stuff as well. So essentially whatever comes out of your reading, it's open to all of these aspects, like astrology, so do astrology readings, which is kind of like your natal solar return, all of those different charts I can look at. Also your Akashic records, we can go into those. And also obviously card readings, where I kind of do a range of love, money, but also a custom one where you just tell me exactly what it is that you want. And we can also look at past lives, future lives. I mean, really anything, it's all open, mediumship, the whole lot. So if you would like that, you can find that on my website at abigailgracepsychic.com. But other than that, thank you for letting me read for you. I totally enjoyed it, and speak to you guys soon. Bye. Hi guys, so this is for all of you that chose message number 3 for all about your Reiki session and what the Reiki master would tell you. So let me just have a feel in here. Let me see. Okay, so literally the first thing that kind of starts happening as soon as you lie on the bed and the Reiki master begins is there's like all of this green energy that's all the way around you, and it's kind of like a cloud of green, but then it's got some like almost like stringy bits of green all the way around the periphery. And instantly the Reiki master knows that what she's here to do. And actually this one is a female Reiki person giving it you, is she realizes that she just needs to kind of like bring all of those, like almost like the strings, the chords, back into your own energy field, because she's really aware there's been like a leakage, a draining of some energy. But equally the Reiki master is really aware from the very beginning that actually you're somebody who's, I'm hearing, really resilient, but also got a massive, massive heart energy. So like a huge, huge, huge kind of heart, and a huge, huge capacity to kind of have compassion and empathy for people. But that just sometimes she's just aware that she needs to work on helping you sort of bring more of your own energy back to you. So at one point she's actually aware that she's almost doing like bringing back some lost parts, some soul fragmentations back to you. So all soul fragmentations is just it's kind of quite a shamanic thing. It's when something happens to you, this life, past life, future life, multidimensional life, really doesn't matter, childhood, etc., or even yesterday or today, it can be anything, where something happens that essentially puts you into either a fight, flight, or freeze type of mode. And in doing so, you unconsciously sort of like protect a part of yourself. And what can then happen is when you protect that part of yourself, it can kind of get a little bit stuck. It's almost like you put it in a cave to keep it safe while you have to deal with whatever's going on. But the problem is that means that some of your energy is always leaking out of you to where this lost part is. And it feels like there's something like that going on. And actually, as I say that, I'm getting real tingles from this crystal all the way through the palm of my hand. And so I'm really, really hearing that. And also, as well though, for some of you, the soul fragmentation that the Reiki Master is aware that she's kind of bringing back to your energy is, God, this crystal's really powerful. Whoa, it makes my hand feel weird. One sec. I think it's because it's doing something with the rings I've got on. Anyway, just give me 1 minute. Sorry, that's really distracting. So then also the other part of the soul fragmentation is it's where either a traumatic event has happened to you or something that's obviously been really, you know, that you've really felt again like you have, it's like an unresolved trauma essentially is another way of putting it. And because it's an unresolved trauma, it's sort of like an echo in your timeline that almost keeps pulling you back to that kind of similar types and thoughts of feelings when a similar type of situation reoccurs. Now I just want to say instantly, it's only for about 10% of you that that's what's happening with the soul fragmentation. For like the 90% of you, it's more just the first part that we described of the soul fragmentation, where you just protected a part of yourself, put it away in a cave to look after it. But anyway, this is what the Reiki Master's doing. She's just kind of calling a lot of that energy back to you. So what you're feeling is, you're feeling almost like this massive kind of like heart expansion. It feels like your heart space is getting bigger and bigger, but in a really, just feels like a really deep breath in and a really deep breath out, that type of feel. And you can feel this really kind of warm energy around your heart. And then you can start to feel a little bit of a tingly sensation in your hands. And it's basically all of these soul fragmentations coming back to you. So one thing that happens to you by the end of the session is you end up feeling like super, super energized, super motivated, super positive. It's like that kind of session that's going on. Now, just give me 1 second. So now as well, like the Reiki Master is really aware that she's also having to work on the higher heart chakra, which is around like your thymus gland. And again, this just feels like, it feels just like a soft type of vibration is kind of going through, almost like just below your collarbones in the center. And there's like a really, really warm sensation that's coming through. Again, it feels like hot, but it feels really, really relaxing. And again, it kind of gives you tingles in your hands again, because again, all of these tingles in your hands while you're having this session is just kind of like energy being received to you, coming back to you, and it's coming back through your hands, then it's circling around your heart. And at the same time, then that green energy that's all the way around you just keeps getting a more and more clear boundary. So that in the end, all of those like sort of strings and cords that were coming out of your energy field have all been pulled back within you, and you just get this real feeling of the word I'm getting is like you just feel exaltated. I don't even know if that's a real word, but you just feel, I suppose you just feel incredibly empowered by the end of this kind of session. And I'm hearing as well that you suddenly feel really, really motivated. And then your ninth chakra, the soul star chakra above your head, starts to just get a really, really coherent pulsing signal. And one of the things that the Reiki master would tell you after the session is, don't be surprised if you start to attract new situations, new people, or old situations and old people return back to your life, but in a higher version than what they were before. Because it's kind of like, because now what the Reiki master ends up doing and how your energy field works with it, your soul star chakra, so that gold star above your head that holds all of your highest potential, starts to send out a really clear beaming signal everywhere, which starts to basically call in destined relationships, destined friendships, destined situations, all to help you get to the highest expression of who you can be in this lifetime. Ooh, I love it. Okay, let me just pull some cards and let's see what we get. Okay. So this is going to be what else is going off in your Reiki session. So it'll give you an idea as well about what's going on for you now. Okay, so I'm seeing this as like a V shape. So you're totally receiving so much in your Reiki session. And also the Reiki guide will be saying to you, oh, the thing is, soon you will be receiving things. Things are going to be coming into your life because there's something quite magnetic about you. But really interestingly, it's you're attracting people from your heart center and your soul star chakra, not from your solar plexus energy, which is kind of interesting. And also the Reiki master, one of the things that the Reiki master would say to you is that she's really impressed how she feels like you've been balancing a lot of things to do with personal power, but also power plays, and like really being able to just own your own energy, own the situations that you find yourself in, everything like that. And she feels that actually you do have a really, really balanced sort of energy, and that all she's doing currently is just almost like, it's this word like exaltation. I keep hearing this word exaltation, kind of just helping you get even into an even higher vibration than where you already are. Because there's people in this pile, it kind of feels like I feel like you're making things work for you basically, or you're feeling good about where you're at. And even though things that might not be perfect, you're feeling in a good place within yourself. Anyway, let's see what's going on. So we don't read reversals here. Okay, so we have the pillar. So in this deck, this is actually the Empress. So that's the energy that we start with. Really interestingly, the other two messages, they all started with the Magician. So I think it's really interesting we get the Empress here. So already that tells me of, again, this receiving energy. And I do really feel like this Reiki session, because you're in such an open, relaxed, soft, happy place within yourself, it means when you're having this Reiki session, you can receive even more than what you usually would in a Reiki session, just because you're in such a receptive state. You know, a bit like the Empress, she's in such a great space for receiving, but she's also got an expanded energy field, because quite often you see the Empress as pregnant in tarot cards. So again, it feels like you're really far on the way with whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. And even if it hasn't manifested in your life yet, there's quite a strong part within you that really feels like it's close, or it's getting there, or you just feel really content with where you're at to do with it. Oh wow, the Ace of Cups again. So far every pile has had the Ace of Cups. But do you know what? I think this says a lot as well about the fact that, you know what, Reiki energy, when you have Reiki, it really, really can open up that heart center. And obviously for you guys, it's particularly that. But, you know, just Reiki in general just really helps to soften edges, to make people's energy field expand, their heart expand, and just really can allow people to come back to their own frequency, which just naturally feels good to be in your own frequency. And because of that, therefore, you are more open. Anyway, let's see. Oh wow, 10 of Cups. Yeah, I'm telling you, I get such a nice vibe with this pile. Like, this feels like such a, you know, the Reiki master, she's even getting something energetic out of doing this for you. And often, obviously you can anyway, but particularly more than usual, she's getting stuff out of this energy session, because there's just something that's almost like overflowing, like kind of overflowing kind of energy. Because obviously 10 of Cups, Ace of Cups, and the Empress I mean, obviously, if you guys know tarot, these are amazing energies of like receiving and just emotional fulfillment, emotional happiness. Let's see here. So we have 8 of coins. Okay, so working on stuff. And then we have 3 of coins, again working on stuff. So let me just see. So obviously this Reiki session is really working on some things. Let me just tune into what this is. Oh, wicked. This is so cool. Okay, so this Reiki session is really working on your mitochondria. Now, this might sound weird, but in sort of shamanic type of understandings, mitochondria is almost like a colony and an energy of all of its own. Like it's got its own, a bit like bacteria in your body and a bit like fungi in your body and these different types of things. Mitochondria is very much like its own energy. It's almost like its own, I don't want to say species because that sounds weird, but like metaphorically, like it's own species within your whole energy system and within your whole body. And actually that's something that this energy session is working on. And this is again why it's saying that it's really good, you know, it's really, you're in a really receptive space and it's really helping you receive. It is because the mitochondria very much work to allow you to be able to create energy from you know, things that come into your body and then how the chemical reactions go within your body. Mitochondria is like, it produces ATP, something like that. It's like the powerhouse energy within your body. And that's really being worked on and activated with this Reiki session. So again, this is another one of these reasons why you end up feeling so like, so just so positive and so good and so full of energy. And actually, before I even turn these over, one of the things that the Reiki master would actually say to you afterwards is, you know, in meditation, you really can communicate to your mitochondria and explain to them what it is you're working on, what it is that you want to receive, how you want that mitochondria to work with you. Because it's sort of, like I say, because it's its own consciousness and it's got its own energy field, and because it is actually the part of you that really helps you create energy within your body, which you then create with to help create your life. It's like a really, I suppose in some ways it is quite an empress energy in a way, because the empress has a baby inside of her, which she then can bring out into the world and it becomes a creation outside of her. And in some ways the mitochondria is kind of like taking products, you know, taking whatever it is, and I can't totally remember what it is. It probably is something like, I don't know. I really don't know and I don't want to get the biology wrong. But anyway, there'll be an equation where mitochondria takes certain things in and then it converts it into energy and something else. So it's got that same sort of thing as the empress of ingesting something and then transforming it and then expelling something outside of it, which is useful for itself and everything around it. And so this is why it's actually coming across, and even though it might sound incredibly bizarre, but your Reiki master would say to you, look, if you do meditation, visualize chatting to your mitochondria and what it wants to tell you and what you want to tell it about what it is that you want to create, but what it is that you want to receive. Because again, this is a very feminine type of energy. And it's really interesting because this is the first female Reiki master that's come in with these spreads. The other 2 messages were male Reiki masters. And it just feels like really, really receiving a lot about what you want. So that's obviously one of the things that Reiki master would say. The other thing as well is it feels like this is very much, it's not a DNA type of thing that's being worked on, but it is sort of like, it's like all the cells of your body are kind of getting slightly vibrated and they're starting to hum. And in the beginning of the session, they're sort of all humming in slightly different frequencies. And by the end of the session, it's like all of the cells in your body, whether they're cells to do with your liver, your pancreas, your lungs, your brain, your nervous system, whatever they are, they all end up humming at the exact same frequency, which is your natural frequency. And that's another reason why you end up feeling amazing when you come out of this session. And so I do think one of the things to say is, as well as wherever you're currently at in your life at the time of this reading, there is this potential energy there available for you. There is something that is close to something that can feel so amazing for you, and it's just about slightly changing your perspective and tuning into it. But I feel like it's changing your perspective by almost realizing how many things are for you rather than against you, how many things are literally working in your favor, how fate has kind of taken a hand, and even though you might not have thought something was going to work out the way that you thought, in the end it works out almost exactly as you thought and even better than you thought. But there's this kind of like allowing, that's it. I'm getting a really allowing energy, allowing for the process to happen, like with the Empress who's pregnant in many decks. She kind of has to allow the process of the baby developing within her, and then allow the process of the birthing process and all of this kind of thing. It feels like part of the receiving for you guys is actually the allowing, and it's allowing yourself to receive it. And again, this would be something that your Reiki master would say afterwards. You can chat with your mitochondria, and you can ask that mitochondria to help you get in this mode for allowing, for receiving. It's really cool. Anyway, let's just see what we have here with what the Reiki master would also tell you. So we have Daughter of Swords and Four of Swords. This is so freaking cute. Really, really like it. And then here we have Six of Swords and the Emperor. Wow, the Emperor came out in pile number 2 as well. Okay, so let's just see in here. So also then we have the Emperor and then we have the Empress. Again, I just really get this strong feeling that all of you that chose this pile are close to the manifestation of something that you do really want. And more than that, right, you're just close to just feeling really good within yourself if you're not already. There's that kind of energy that is on the horizon. And it does feel like it's on the horizon as well, because the Six of Swords is kind of like often somebody journeying, leaving behind chaotic waters for calm waters. I think the Reiki master would definitely tell you that, you know, what it appears is happening with your body and your surroundings and everything is you're absolutely moving from a chaotic space to a much more calmer, solid position within you. And actually now as well, like what's showing up is there's your root chakra. So your root chakra at the base is just starting to softly glow and kind of like burn, a bit like a fire. It's got a really kind of, it's got that really alluring, nurturing kind of feel, as to say when you go in a pub. I don't know which country you're from, because you could be from everywhere, but in the UK where I'm from, pubs is quite a big thing, right? Particularly country pubs. And often, like, you can go, like, let's say you've gone for a walk and it snowed, and then you've come to the pub, and then the pub's got like a snug, and the snug is like a bit of a seating area that's right next to the main fire. And like you go in there, and then maybe you have some mulled wine, or you have some herbal tea, or you have a beer, whatever it is that you're into, and you just can feel like this fire just feels like so calming and comforting and reassuring, and just kind of, it just feels amazing. That's the kind of space that, believe it or not, your root chakra is heading into. So again, I'm being told as well that this is what your Reiki master would say, that essentially once this session is over, and once you're looking at things about getting into a more allowing space with all the receiving and things, your root chakra is going to really, really start to relax, and it's really going to start to feel safe. And again, it then feels like when that root chakra, when you feel safe in whatever situation that you're in, you know, wherever you have to be vulnerable, basically, wherever you have to be vulnerable, because the Empress, to do with pregnancy and birth, needs to go into a space of real, not only allowing, but vulnerability, because obviously she's in an incredibly vulnerable situation when she's given birth. And kind of the Reiki master would say that the message to you is, when you allow yourself to go into the vulnerable situation, and obviously it's going to be different for all of you. So when you go into that vulnerable situation, it's about feeling safe and calm and nurtured and cherished, that's the word, and feeling cherished within a vulnerable situation so that you can relax. And as you relax into the vulnerability, everything starts to happen. That's when you will start allowing everything to happen. That's when you start receiving everything. And that's when, again, because then your root chakra relaxes, but also feels very sturdy and safe. Again, this is another thing that just means things get attracted to you because you've got a consistent, stable, steady vibration. And the Reiki master would definitely say, like, that's something that's going to be coming into your reality the more that you start to feel safe within vulnerable situations. So no matter who you are or what's going on in your life, I do feel like there's an area of your life where maybe you're being called to be more vulnerable, whether it is to express how you feel about something or someone, whether it is to do something that you wouldn't usually do that makes you feel vulnerable, whatever it might be. But there'll be like a real thing that you're aware has been going off for a while, and it's asking you to be now vulnerable, because it kind of feels like you've been pregnant with this idea of what it is that you need to do regarding being more vulnerable, taking the certain action, saying the certain thing, and it's coming very, very close to the Reiki master would say you've basically had what's those early contractions called, like Bricks and Hicks or something. Bricks and Hicks. I really can't remember, but anyway, Hicks contractions. You're having the contractions that appear like the real contractions, but they're not. They're just like a signal that you're very, very close to actually having real contractions, that kind of thing. That's sort of been occurring for you, and it's designed to prepare you to then get ready to actually really then go through with the birthing process of being truly vulnerable in a situation where you wouldn't usually, and you wouldn't feel safe. But the Reiki master assures you that you'll know there's no rush, there is no rush. Your environment, your life will give you the cues, the signals, like the woman knows when she's going to be close to giving birth, because she'll break, her waters will break, and then she'll get contractions, and then she'll start to dilate more, and then the contractions will increase, and then her dilation will increase. So there's this steady progression of things that happens the closer that this woman gets to giving birth. And this will be the same thing with you in the vulnerability. The Reiki master would say, watch out for the signs, take your time, there's absolutely no rush. There is no rush with this. Take your time and just look out for the signals from the universe, from what's happening around you, from what you're feeling internally inside you, and you will recognize when it's time to then show up and be vulnerable in this new way. Like I say, whether it's to do with an action, or whether it's to do with expressing a feeling, or whether it's to do with any type of communication, or whatever it might be. So there is no rush. And I think this is the thing, you end up leaving this Reiki session as well just feeling incredibly empowered, because you really can feel that you are absolutely on the right track, that you are absolutely that you are actually getting into this really good place within you and within your own life and within your own journey. And actually there is no rush to force anything. There's no rush to force anything. And you even leave recognizing that if you try to force something, this actually might stop the space of allowing and receiving that you're heading into. So it's almost like, it's almost like if you could see in the future and you just knew that whatever was going to happen that you wanted was going to happen, you would potentially feel a lot different waiting for it, because you wouldn't even need to be waiting, because waiting implies that you don't yet have it. You'd kind of already feel that you do have it, because you could feel that in the future that you have it. And because you had that real kind of total certainty about that part of you in the future, it actually gave you total certainty for this part of you in the present. It's kind of very much kind of that type of energy. So again, during your Reiki session, it feels like, your root chakra just starts to feel incredibly, incredibly grounded. But again, nothing is coming up to do with your Earth Star chakra, which is your 10th chakra, which I always think is a much bigger anchor. But like the Reiki master's spirit guide would just like say, oh yeah, but that's because you don't need this huge amount of stability for where you're at, because the whole point of allowing and receiving is not necessarily stability, but it's allowing yourself to evolve as things happen. Because a bit, again, like the pregnant woman, the Empress, you have an idea of when you might give birth, and you have an idea of all these type of things, but as for the actual definites, there are no actual definites of when it will happen, how long it will last, all of these type of things. But but that's because that's not that sort of journey. It's not that sort of journey, because it is, again, this thing about allowing and receiving and vulnerability. And again, like, by the end of this session, your heart chakra and your higher heart chakra, the higher heart chakra is kind of between the heart chakra and the throat chakra, just becomes this incredible, amazing type of turquoisey colour, which is almost like a blue lagoon. And again, you just feel super, super positive, and you've almost got a feeling of excited anticipation for what will come, while also enjoying what's currently present as well. So this just kind of feels, it feels like such a nice place and a nice space and a nice energy to be in. Anyway, let me just get a couple more oracle cards. See what's going on. Again, I'm getting drawn a little bit like here. I don't know if you can see the star at the very top here. Let me see if I can. There's a star at the very top. And again, it does really feel like your heart chakra is in really good communication with your ninth chakra, your soul star chakra. So one of the things as well the Reiki master would say is have a look for any guided meditations, particularly to do with the soul star chakra and the heart chakra. And she would recommend that first of all you would do the heart chakra meditation to open up the heart space, and then you would follow up with the soul star chakra meditation and see where that all led to. As well, like this Reiki master would be saying, for those of you that maybe find it a bit overwhelming about being vulnerable, or feel like you have been really vulnerable, or whatever it might be, the Reiki master really, she's just incredibly reassuring to you, just sort of saying, look, don't worry, it's already in the process. All you have to do really is just carry on doing exactly what you're doing, and just keep feeling in this positive, inspired space. But also be like, you don't need to be polarized in terms of, oh, well, if I don't feel happy one day, does that mean I'm now out of alignment and I'm not allowing? She'd kind of tell you that it's just about just being really relaxed with it, because sometimes having a bad day or like a difficult hour is still all part of the process. And just to trust that we don't need to totally understand how it happens, but just appreciate that you're on the way to whatever it is that, to be honest, you have been working towards for a while. And you know what, when she says that, actually, you start to kind of feel like, you actually start to feel, sounds strange, but you start to kind of feel like your sinuses are opening up a little bit. And not that many of you have any pressure there, but you're just sort of aware that you can almost like breathe a little easier. And it's almost like you can almost hear a little bit more clearer, and it's almost as well like you suddenly can see everything looks slightly more brighter and more colourful. A bit like, I don't know if any of you have ever had a colonic. Sometimes when I've had a colonic, I'll suddenly just, as soon as it's all been done, it's just like everything is way more clearer, sounds are clearer, smells are clearer, like my eyes like can really, really see bright colours everywhere. Everything's almost like in high definition. It's kind of that sort of feeling that you start getting when you're moving out of with the Reiki session. And also as well, the Reiki master tells you, did you feel like your left ear getting really warm during the session? And you're kind of like, yeah, I did. And the Reiki master is like, oh yeah, because I could just feel so much heat coming out of your ear. And that's because so many people want to hear what you have to say. And also there is something about like kind of being really able to listen to the rhythm of your own body and the rhythm of where you're at within your own life. There's something about that that's going on, and she really tells you to just trust where you think you're at and what you think you're hearing currently. But let's just see what these are saying. Okay, so, oh wow, insight. Then we get enchantment. Yeah, enchantment reminds me of the Empress energy. Again, you know, this kind of real, like, positive, amazing kind of feeling. Love. Yeah, you know what? I totally, straight from the beginning, the energy from this just pile just feels so, so good. So wherever you think you're at or whatever, it just all shows you that, I don't know, that you're just in a really good space. Oh wow. And then here's the Piper. So in this book as well, the Piper is somebody who's kind of like really in tune with the creative part of himself, like really in tune to expressing himself, like actually really feeling kind of like the rhythm of love within and around him, which then basically enhances this one, the love card, but also this one, the enchantment. So again, you really just leave this Reiki session feeling, and these are the words that I'm getting, almost, and I can't quite say the word, not in awe, but it's not enchantment, it's like enamored, that's it, enamored by like your own energy, and you feel enamored about the fact that the Reiki master was just wasn't talking about things you needed to heal or things you needed to learn or whatever, but was just more like, look, your energy feels great. The Reiki master's like, I see so many people in difficulties, or they're needing to purge, or they're needing to heal. Your energy does feel great. Just enjoy it. Just allow everything to keep unfolding the way that it's unfolding. Just it's not flow, but it's like, just dance with life. Just dance with life. Just sense that internal rhythm within you, connect with that internal rhythm within you, and you'll find yourself connecting with the external rhythm around you. And again, she just really kind of emphasizes to you, look, you really, like, your mitochondria really wants to chat to you, really wants to communicate to you, because your mitochondria wants to know. Your mitochondria wants you to give it insight about what you want your mitochondria to be creating energy for, because part of the intention of what it is you can be creating and receiving in your life, they can help you with this. And I know it sounds probably so crazy chatting about mitochondria like this, but you know, I've definitely seen it within my own energy field, within my own, sometimes I would get it actually at gong baths. I used to friggin' love gong baths. I remember once my mitochondria having a massive conversation with me about something. I can't remember what it was now. But your mitochondria is really communicative. It's just learning how to listen. And again, it kind of feels like, for some reason, it's like a real communication that the Reiki master wants you to go on. Because this kind of reminds me of like somebody kind of leaning in, you know, with the way that her face is. She's kind of leaning in, and she looks like, yeah, she's got her eyes closed, but she's still moving. So again, she's showing this huge amount of like vulnerability of moving forward, even when she can't see where she's actually fully going, but she's still going with it. And there's this softness to her. And again, here with the Piper, it just feels like if this energy was listening, because it doesn't look like this energy is talking, then this energy is more like talking, because it's sending out sound. But again, that sound, and to be honest, this even looks like some form of how sound wave would look, and I don't know why, but it just does. But yeah, there really is something about listening and something about speaking, but also recognizing that listening and speaking is a part of communication. Communication isn't just the speaking, or it isn't just the listening. It's kind of like both. And again, I suppose the communication isn't just the speaking and listening. It's also the processing between the listening and the speaking. You know what I mean? I feel like there's some special kind of guidance that comes in that space in between, and that's something that the Reiki master will be saying to you, like, kind of pay attention to the conversations that, you know, turn up for you in your life around this kind of time period and after this Reiki session, because there is, how would she word it, like, there's a lot that life is trying to communicate with you, share with you, but also there's a lot that you also have to share and communicate with yourself, like with your own mitochondria and stuff like that. But as well, like, it's sort of coming across like the effective way to communicate is to have a pause in between listening and speaking, or have a pause between speaking and listening. For some reason, this feels like the pause, because in between the pause of speaking and listening, the Reiki master would say to you that you have like an ancestor who's also basically like a guardian angel who is helping you to fully understand what's currently going on, or what's currently being said by someone, or what's currently being said by a situation, and they're helping you understand it in a new way. And as you understand this thing in a new way, it therefore naturally allows you to be more vulnerable. And as you become more vulnerable, you become into more of a space of allowing, and therefore you become into more of a space of receiving. By the way, this ancestor, who's also like a guardian angel for you at the moment, they're almost like got a grandmother type feel to them. It's that type of vibe, that type of energy. It's very, very nurturing. And again, it kind of reminds me of, like, we talked about your root chakra and the pub, and like, you know, having drinks there, and it's snowing outside and there's this amazing warm fire and you buy the warm fire. I don't know, it's kind of got that kind of feel again of like this like grandmother figure who would kind of like be cooking or something, cooking in the kitchens and making a really hot, like warming broth or something like that, which allows everybody to relax and everybody to, I don't know, enjoy the meal, and then everybody to open up even more, and then everybody to share like stories and laughter, and then everybody to help clear up, and just like there's this really nice flow, organic flow to what happens. And metaphorically, that is what the Reiki master would be saying is the energy that's coming into you now, and the energy that's available for you now. But yeah, they would definitely say that you are being currently guided by a type of guardian angel figure, which is like a grandmother, ancestor type of figure. So it doesn't have to be your actual grandmother, although it could be, but it's definitely somebody that's showing up that has that kind of feminine wisdom and feminine age and maturity on their side, and somebody that really understands understands love in a completely different type of way, because now they have kind of passed over, because it definitely is somebody that is no longer living anymore. Now that they have passed over, they've also, on top of the earthly experiences that they had, they've also now got this kind of more, well, like the soul's perspective on love. And they're really very much trying to help you integrate and understand that with whatever is currently going off in your life. And all you have to do is just lean in a little bit. Just lean in a little bit, and just listen. Listen and kind of trust, and know that it's all coming into, it's not actually just trust, it's like listen, and it's like feel the support that's around you, like all these little chicks. They are so freaking cute. You know, they don't have a care in the world. They don't care the fact that there's all these swords around them. They're just kind of like totally nuzzled into each other. You know, the energy that's coming off that is like amazing, because just think there's like these 4 heartbeats, and although originally they've all got their own heartbeat, suddenly because they're sleeping in this kind of arrangement, all of their heartbeats start to synchronize in together, and then there's just this one massive beat, which is all of their heartbeats in coherence together. And it's kind of that type of energy that is so much available to you, around you, and is coming in for you. And that is basically what your Reiki master would say. And like I say, by the end of this session, your root chakra is feeling super healthy, your heart chakra is feeling really open and soft, your high heart chakra also feels super balanced, and actually also even your throat chakra is starting to open up in a new type of way. And on top of all of that, your energy field, which came in originally as green with all of these like little cords going out of it, is now like this amazing green and then kind of turquoisey. It looks kind of very much like how Earth looks outside of, you know, in space, apart from obviously the distinctions between green and blue are nowhere near as clear as what they are with the Earth. This is more kind of like flowing, and it's like that is the energy that you then leave with. And again, I suppose it leaves you feeling incredibly safe and in tune with life, with the Earth, feeling safe regardless of what is going on around you, and just kind of trusting the process of it all, and trusting that you're completely on the way for everything that you have been planning. So to be honest, it just feels so nice. This feels so nice. So yeah, I think that's everything to say there. So I hope you enjoyed that reading. I thought it'd be a little bit fun to try something a little bit more different like this. And also it can still give you an insight into where things are currently at in your life, etc., as Reiki sessions often can. And it gives you some ideas of things that you can maybe look at with guided meditations or thinking on to do with your own energy fields and chakras and stuff like that. And definitely that thing about chatting to your mitochondria sounds crazy, but maybe Google it. I'm sure there'll be something online. But anyway, yeah, hope you enjoyed that. I no longer do Reiki sessions anymore, but what I do in some of my private personal readings, if something comes through, like, oh, you need to give this little tiny guided meditation or just chat them through this energy shift within their body or this chakra thing, then that's something that I always do. Because any reading that I do, I just open up all of my tools of like the whole lot really, shamanic, astrology, Reiki, mediumship, whatever it might be, it all comes through. So if you like a personal reading from me, definitely check out my website on abigailgracepsychic.com. So I specifically do Akashic Record readings, I do astrology readings, multiple different charts, whatever you're kind of looking for. I like to usually combine charts like natal, solar return, progressed, etc. Can also do two people together. And then also I've obviously got my card readings ones of like love, money, and also a custom one where you just tell me what it is you're looking for. So yeah, check out for that if that's what you're looking for. Also, you can check me out on Instagram and Facebook on Abigail Grace Psychic. I put lots of stuff on there. Also, what else is that? Oh, my other YouTube channel, See It Like a Psychic. That's where I also just put lots of different videos up about all different types of psychic stuff. They're like really short videos, about 10 minutes. So you might also like that and check that out there. And then also there's my other Akashic Record readings for each zodiac sign for 2021. And they're on obviously this channel here, Psychic Solutions. Look at your rising sign in particular for the astrology in the beginning, but they also are good for your sun sign, moon sign, etc. So yeah, check all of that out, and there are extended readings for that on my website too, if that was something you're looking for. But other than that, you know what? Just enjoy who you are. Enjoy who you are, enjoy who you have become, and enjoy who you are becoming. That's what I feel big time from everything from this kind of Reiki energy session. So cool, thank you so much for letting me read for you. I totally love it, and I'll speak to you soon. And actually I just feel like this. This is what your energy feels like. So nice. Anyway, speak to you guys soon. Bye.